All right, today I'm talking about my decision to stop pursuing football. So, when I went to University of Virginia. I was a former All-American college football player. I ended up getting hurt my last game of my college football season against in the bowl game, right? But preparing for the bowl game, ended up being a tougher injury than I expected when it came into the eyes of like the NFL, GMs, etc., scouting groups. Just because it was a microfracture injury, I never knew anything about a microfracture injury, but it's really something that is, it's going to become harder and harder on your knee the more pressure and the more stress you put onto the knee joint. So I played for 3 years, continually pushing through, trying to prove my worth and value in this league. Ultimately, it got to a point where, I got cut, and I was in a time frame of feeling like, I still can play. I said I'm going to wait it out a year, and I'm going to figure out if I get another call to come join a team. In that time frame, I did not get another call. So in a year, I made a decision to then go to the CFL, went up to Hamilton to play in the CFL to just prove myself, to get back to the NFL. My goal is not to play in the CFL. Like I love football, but football in my body, like I've had multiple injuries, multiple years of crashing my body and head into things where, like I'm not gonna, like at this age, at this year of professionalism, I'm not about to play in the CFL unless I have a comparable contract to what I believe my worth is. And I was going to go up there and show my worth and see if they would pay me that amount of money, but also show my worth to the NFL as well, because I know the level of player that I am and can bring to a game, to a team, for sure. So with that being said, I ended up tearing my Achilles first preseason game in the CFL, and I remember being in Toronto by myself, no family, no friends in that area, and having a torn Achilles, about to go into surgery, and the doctor asking me, hey, do you want to have surgery or do you not want to have surgery? And I'm like, I actually don't want to have surgery because I've already had way too many surgeries. So just in that mindset right now, I've already checked out, right? Like, I'm done with this. My dad told me, like, get the surgery. You need to get the surgery, those different type of things. So I ended up getting the surgery. Nobody was there, just me. Got the surgery, and the next day my parents showed up and pretty much drove me back to Kentucky. And that was my last football experience, and I never thought about playing another day of football after that situation. There's three things that gave me that clarity of mind to never think about playing football again. One, I had started my first business. I started my first business when I went to the CFL. So in that year time frame when I was waiting to see if the NFL was going to call me back, I started my first business called Helping Hands. We started getting our contracts. I started making money outside of football, and then I went to the CFL. So while I was at the CFL, I was still earning money outside of football, and that gave me some clarity and understanding that I didn't need football to make a check, to make a living. So that was the first thing that happened. The second thing that happened that made me never want to pursue football again is that I realized that my value was capped, right? Like, my value was capped. Like, you can earn a lot of money, but there's always people earning more money than you. So then I shifted my mindset from wanting to be a football player to wanting to be a football owner. Like, I wanted to own the football team. I never wanted to, like, I've always been somebody that the amount of work that I put in, I want to be able to see the fruits of the labor of the work that I've put in. So I found that in business. That the amount of time, the amount of energy, the strategies, the details, the things that I do had direct impact onto my salaries. All those things were things that I could make decisions on. Nobody was making decisions for me. I would say that that was probably the second most important thing, was just like, I didn't want to feel like I was capped. I didn't want to feel like I was capped on my potential. And just because you make, $1 million, $2 million, $50 million a year as an NFL player, doesn't mean that you're not an employee for an owner. If somebody can pay you $50 million, they're making, billions of dollars, right? Like, think of it like that from that expectation. So that's how I thought about it and kind of shifted that mindset there. The third and final thing was that I didn't want nobody to control my destiny. And I still got to come back to that today as an entrepreneur when I'm like raising venture capital and things of that nature. I'm like, do I really want to raise this capital? Do I really want to raise this capital? Do I really want to put myself back in a position of people telling me what to do? Because right now, nobody, like, I make the final decisions for all my companies. I make the final decisions. I don't report to nobody. You know, I've built these businesses with my friends, my colleagues, but at the end of the day, I'm making final decisions on how we're gonna move and how we're gonna go about the next days, the next steps, the products and the businesses, how we're gonna sell, how we're gonna grow, what's our go-to-market strategy. At the end of the day, I have to sit there and I have to think, I have to figure out what I want to do, and I make that decision. I don't run my decisions by people from that side of the fence, and I love that freedom. I love that freedom to build. At the end of the day, I'm a builder, right? I'm a builder of value in the business world, and I put my price on what I feel like the value is that we can bring, and I'm trying to bring as much value as possible. So that was the last step, is I didn't want nobody to control my destiny, and I still don't want nobody to control my destiny. So those are the 3 reasons why I decided to step away from football. That's a little bit about my story as well, about, you know, how my football career turned into entrepreneurship as well.